Okay guys, so we're here back with the Ego 11. This is going to be the second part of the review right here. We'll talk about a couple more features on the gun. We've got our trigger, same trigger setup as before. We have 5 different options as far as adjustments for the trigger. You've got your front stop and rear stop adjustments, control your front and rear travel. Your magnetic return, so you can control how hard the magnet pushes the trigger back into its position. The spring return, so it also has a spring return feature inside there, so you can control how hard the spring pushes back to the return or the original position. Plus your switch activation, so if you're not going to use the optical sensor inside there, how far you have to pull before the micro switch takes hold there. Now we're going to look inside. I've got these 2 screws already removed off the gun, so I'm going to kind of put this in the right spot so you guys can see in there. Okay, so I've got my 2 grip screws removed. One thing I do want to, actually before we pull this open, I want to show you something different about the frame. The frame on these guns, just overall, this section here is set a little bit higher and a little bit further back into the gun than the previous versions. What they're trying to do is make the grip or the handle as in line with the barrel as possible. So the higher up they can make your shooting platform or handle platform, the more comfortable it's going to be for you to shoot out of. So if we take this Ego 10 right here and we line up our feed necks on top right here. Alright, so I got that one on top. So basically our feed necks are right over the top of each other right now. Okay, we can see if we look in the back right here, we can see that the back part of the frame for the 10 sits further back. So obviously we can see that they've moved the frame back a little bit farther. And it's hard to see, but obviously up into there. So it's going to lengthen the gun out a little bit. It's going to give you a little bit more room inside of the this section right here, so you can fit your thumb if you're a player who puts their thumb in there. There's just more room for your fingers inside the gun. As you can see, between this one, the room here, and this one, your room here, more space inside the frame. Alright, so now what we'll do, we'll open it up so you can see underneath. Obviously the same usual suspects underneath here. We've got battery, your LCD light as far as backlight goes with your screen. You've got your a couple different sections as far as your ports here. That's not going to focus, is it? Back up a little bit here. Alright, so you've got your right here, your red button right here, that's to get into all your programming that you normally can't get into or access from the backside. You've got your eye wires, your solenoid. You've got right under here an auxiliary port right there. That's going to be for any of the aftermarket loader setups. If you have an RF setup that you're going to do, that's where that would plug in right there. And then right under here, you can see this kind of board, this port right here. That's for the add-on board that's going to go on there that will let you get into the ePortal stuff. If you're going to do USB upgrading or anything like that, that's the port where you would connect the board to there. Now the most interesting feature probably for the new guns is these 2 right here. Okay, these 2 switches. They're dials, and they give you control over the solenoid. Now they call them solenoid flow restrictors, and what it does is it's going to let you control the flow of air moving the solenoid forward and moving the solenoid back. So you can control the amount of kick or how smooth or just basically how the solenoid functions. If you have a setting between 1 and 10 on both of the dials, the higher the setting, the more flow, lower the setting, the less flow. So if you would set them both at the highest setting, like 10 and 10 on both settings, then you'd get your highest rate of fire that you could achieve as far as cycling speeds, but you'd also get your highest setting as far as kick and noise. So you got to kind of figure out where you want it to be. obviously going the other direction, the lower you set it, the smoother the gun is going to shoot, but the lower your rate of fire is going to be, because the solenoid just physically can't move as fast. Now, because you're controlling pressure in the solenoid, changing the amount of pressure on the forward stroke potentially can affect your velocity. So if you're slowing down the speed of the ram coming forward, or the solenoid moving the ram forward, velocity could suffer. So according to Planet, they say if you're going to put or be monkeying around with that, if you lower the forward stroke lower than 6 or 7, you might run into some velocity issues. But if you're using reball, they say that's perfect. So, you know, it really comes down to how you want to set the gun up. So on the front setting, or what they call the A setting, you can drop that all the way down to 1. But it's the back setting that controls the forward motion of the gun, or the forward motion of the ram. That's where you want to be careful. You keep it at 6 or 7, just so you don't run into any issues. So we'll pop this back in place. Cover that up. Grips go on nice. They're not sloppy or anything like that. Overall, great gun setup. Really happy with the way this gun looks, the way it feels, all the new little features on it. Really quite nice. So what we're going to do is we're going to take our gun here. We're going to put our screws back in it. Everybody always wants to know what the guns weigh, so we'll put this back on, and then we will weigh it and compare it with a 2010 as well. So, got gun and barrel. Put that on there. We'll take our barrel and put it back on our 2010. So we got that there. So first thing we'll do is we will weigh up the 2010. Alright, so we got zeros on there. Make sure it goes back to 0. Now we're going to put that on there, like so. Oh, kind of blocking that. Alright, so we got almost 2 pounds, 1 pound 15 ounces right there. Alright, so that's the 2010, or yeah, the 2010. So you can move that out of the way so you can see that. And a little bit less, 1 pound 15 ounces, the other one was 1 pound 15.6 ounces. Oh, it just changed, 15.2. So slightly less, overall pretty much the same weight if you're just going to be looking at it and like that. So we've got the new 2011 Egos. We're the only one who's got them right now, shipping out from ansgear.com. Check them out.